way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining. The brilliant shooting of Stephen Curry continues. Back to Green, into the hands of Spurwell. Fast break down to Weber. He turns. Look out behind the back! And the step and the foul! What a play by Weber!
I've never seen a shooting display like this. Never.
37 in a quarter.
Curry inline shakes the ball out of his boot.
He takes a little swing and misses. Curry splits the defense behind the back. Fires a three. Oh, he puts it in. Spectacular move. That could be the greatest move I've ever seen. Here's Curry for the record. It's good. There it is. Stephen Curry, the all-time three-point king in the NBA.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
You are in Or Huddle with me, Bram, and with me, per usual, my master of all things video and sound, Maxime.
How's it going?
And rejoining us after way too long, a noted sports author with bylines at The Ringer, The Herald, Real GM, and Fansided, the former Warriors beat writer for the Bay Area News Group, the current host of the Locked On Heat, Locked On NBA, and Real GM Radio, and a man who's been informed of just how fucking sick I am and that I may stop making sense at any moment today, Mr. Wes Goldberg. What's going on, Wes?
So I just realized the Do It Live guy at the end was Bill O'Reilly. I didn't know that. I saw that clip I was scrolling. I was like, oh my God, it's the thing. I swear to God, I thought that was you, Bram. For I know from an old show or something, where the the thing wasn't working and you're like, fuck it, we're just gonna do all this live.
I love future referencing this. So I got used to that clip. Howard Stern used to play it all the time on their show, and I found it hella funny. If for those out there who haven't done it, there's a back and forth where Bill O'Reilly is doing some kind of ad read. They're supposed to be recording it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And finally, he's like, "Fuck it, I'll do it live." And so we included this when we started doing the live shows. And I will share with you that when we watch that video, every time we get to that portion, I mouth the words. Every time. I don't know why it is. I'm not on camera. No one can see it.
No, you're trying to summon your inner Bill O'Reilly. I get it.
Yes, that's exactly right. I've always kind of wanted to be an uber conservative radio host. So, this is
honestly, think what you will of his politics, whatever. He is an awesome orator and he's really good at his job. So the fact that he was just on network and he was just I'm just gonna do all this live. And he did. I'm sure he pulled it off.
Well, and a guy who on air is not known for F-bombs or anything controversial in that way. When we get that little glimpse of when he got frustrated, he's just dropping fuck yous like it meant nothing, has always entertained me, Wes. So immediately transparent. I love having you on. You know that. I've told you you're one of my fucking favorite guests, if not my favorite. So there's not a topic that I don't want to discuss with you, but today I'm being selfish. All right.
Okay.
I had a fight with a friend about a topic that not only do I think is right up your alley, more than that, what I told the friend was, look, we're going to leave this up to Wes Goldberg. He's going to be the judge on this, and I'm pretty sure he's going to have my back. All right. So the fight was, is a hot dog a sandwich? All right. I'm not even going to tell you which side I'm on. The friend out there listens. He knows what's at stake, man. What's the take? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No, a hot dog is a taco.
Tacos I have to reveal it. I take away your judgeship. That's a ridiculous take. That's completely
It's the same thing. It's the same shape. So a sandwich has the sides are open all around the two slices of bread. There's no closed sides in a sandwich. But in a taco, it's sort of like this little container and the top is open and then the meat is tucked in the middle. It's the same shape.
I see where they're coming from. Maxime, I'm now making you the judge because I don't like where Wes is coming from here. So I hear you. I hear you. What I was saying is a sandwich is meat and bread. A taco is tortilla and meat. And since overall, when we're looking at the hot dog, since it is in fact meat and bread, not tortillas, it is a sandwich. What do you think, Maxime? Where are you on this?
They're both made of flour. What are we talking about? It's the same stuff. Is matzah not bread?
No, wait. There's corn tacos. Settle down. Don't you
Nobody
make that
likes the corn tacos.
But
one
they
likes
It's like
exist.
gluten-free bread. Like nobody really wants it. It's an option.
They still exist. What's your vote in here, Maxime?
Now, all I can really think about is just putting one of those Oscar Mayer dogs in a tortilla, and that sounds absolutely disgusting. Would you put ketchup or salsa at this point?
That sounds great.
It does? Oh my God.
Mustard is the answer.
I don't mind telling you, unfortunately enough, I have done it. All right, well, I've just lost the argument now. That's unfortunate. I need to keep this in mind. I need to be very careful on making you the judge. Maybe next time I'll vet the take before I go public with it. It is what it is. How you been, man?
You talking to me now?
Yeah, to you. I'm so talking. What do you mean? Who else? No, I'm talking to the other dude who just entered the room. You're the fucking guest. Of course I'm talking to you.
I'm good.
Excellent.
You know what? Honestly, I'm hungry. So not just because you brought up hot dogs and tacos and whatnot, but I went to, and I'm just gonna name names. How about that? We got a platform. PF Chang's, go to hell. I live in Miami. I walked by the PF Chang's downtown like a couple weeks ago with my wife, and I was like, oh wow, she hates Chinese. She doesn't eat Chinese food. Didn't grow up with it. Doesn't get it. I'm like, it's like the one thing that we actually argue about. And I walked by PF Chang's and like, oh, $13 lunch special. I'm like, that's not bad, like in the world of inflation and stuff. Like, I'll take that. So I'm like, you know what? I kind of tucked that away, and I was like, I had a pretty free afternoon. I'm gonna go check that out. So I went. I got their teriyaki chicken dish, lunch special, whatever. I swear to God, it comes out. I think you got like 10 little like of those like little half nuggets of chicken on it over a bed of stale rice, like rice from yesterday. And I paid $13 for that. And the guy comes out, how's your meal? And I was like, well, honestly, there's not much here. And he goes, yeah, that's a lunch special. I'm like, just charge me $40 for the normal thing. Like, at least I'd be full when I left. I just wasted I might as well just take this $13 and flush it down the toilet. Like, what are these calories for? It was ridiculous. So I'm not doing that great.
This segment was presented to you by PF Chang, who is an early sponsor of mine. My favorite portion of that take is the idea that Jules does not understand Chinese food. Like, she gets in there, is just like, I don't get it. Like, I am 100%. Yeah, this
does not comprehend it. She's like, why would anybody eat this?
Does not make any sense to me. You didn't ask, but I'm feeling terrible. I mean, you probably should have asked, but I am in fact feeling terrible.
We talked about it before.
And incredibly vulnerable. I was telling Maxime before we fucking entered in this. So sick, feels like I'm thinking through glue. And to give you more information than you need, my kid is 9, or more specifically, turning old enough where she's starting to bust us out on random shit. I'll make like a movie reference, like, oh, sweetie, that's from Moana. And she's like, no. That's from Moana 2. And I feel like an asshole. And getting punked by, not only a child, but your child threatens power dynamic. Like, you just don't need that. And I'm so off this week because I'm fit. Like, I enter a room now and I'm intimidated by my kid because I know if I say something, she's going to bust me out. And I know that what I'm saying is not making any sense. So be gentle with me today. We've got a lot of Warriors topics. We got a lot of awards to hand out, but we also have an international superstar amongst us. Maxime has not been on the show for about a week and a half, and it's because he was in Singapore, a country I have never been. So Maxime, glass half full. Give us something you like and didn't about Singapore, man. And give me enough detail where if I ever have to pretend with somebody else that I've been there, I can drop some little fact and be like, oh, this is what I liked about it. And, see if I can skate by.
Yes. Singapore was amazing. I am still definitely jet lagged. It is far enough that it feels very early in the morning right now. So both of the people that are normally on this show are liable to be completely nonsensical at different points for different reasons. But nonetheless, Singapore is definitely, like, that's Chinese food. You can get some serious, real Chinese food there. And actually, as an aside, when I was in high school, I asked this girl out and she said yes, found out she was vegetarian. And so I went to the only people I knew who was like an old friend and was like, where do you go? These people were vegetarian. And I said, where do you go to eat vegetarian food? I want to take this girl out. I really want to impress her. And you know what they said? PF Chang's. I shit you not. Fucking PF Chang's. So I was like, of course. Like, I don't know. I only eat meat, right? So I guess I'll take this girl to PF Chang's. And I had no idea what PF Chang's was, but it worked out. We ended up dating for quite a while. So
when you showed up, was Wes outside with the sign that said, fuck this place? It's just openly striking. Don't get the lunch special, bullshit rice, that kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe they should have sabotaged it because I wouldn't have wasted so many years of my life. Kidding. As an aside, at the end of the aside, so glass half full on Singapore. I was told, and this is definitely true, you should either spend $5 on a meal or $500 on a meal. If you spend 50, you're wasting your money. And it's so true. I mean, like, they have unbelievable restaurants there, and they also have food courts that are essentially subsidized by the Singaporean government. So you can get like whatever kind of food you want for $5, and you're not going to be PF Chang's disappointed. It's a shitload of food. The amount of like different cuisines from all over the world, different people that are eating those cuisines from all over the world, just ridiculous. So they're called food courts, or the hawker markets, and that's definitely, you got to pay cash, but highly worth it. So there you go. That's at least one of the glass half fulls.
How much is a plane ticket to Singapore right now? Like, I just that sounds great.
Yeah, I don't know because my company paid for it. Hey,
Wes, I don't know if you knew this.
Huddle had that kind of money.
If you ever do go to Singapore, Wes, I should tell you, spend either $50 or $500 on a meal. Anything in between is a total amount. Yeah, I mean, I'll follow up with you off the air and explain that take immediately. I've also had some pretty incredible experiences the last time we recorded. I finished a Netflix series, so I don't know. I mean, it's just about the same as international. All right, boys, to basketball. So, Wes, we've been doing a weekly award show, and we normally start with the Jesus Shuttlesworth Player of the Week award, but instead this week I'm going to shift it up a little bit. We're going to the Chris Mills On Your Team Bus Asshole of the Week. I have more than a couple of nominees, but I don't need to go first. Either of you guys have an entry here that's burning through you?
I think I know where you're going, so, and I think my thing will lead into your thing, so unless Maxime has something else.
By all means.
So Asshole of the Week goes to whoever was producing SportsCenter yesterday on ESPN, because we know about like the Jimmy Butler stuff. I'm sure we're going to talk about it, but they actually put on, it wasn't the lower third. It was like, is it the upper third when it's on the top? The lower third's on the bottom. It was like, they just put trade request, Jimmy Butler trade request. And I'm like, okay, come on. This is now purposely misleading. That's a flat out, like, nobody requested a trade. This is like actually putting it on the wrong person. If the Heat's shopping him, it doesn't mean that he's requesting the trade. So that was my asshole of the week, because then my mention's blown up. And also, just meanwhile, also, whoever's in charge of Shams' Twitter account, whether it's Shams or somebody else, adding a graphic to breaking news, Jimmy Butler would be open to playing for the Phoenix Suns, when everybody with half a brain knows that it's impossible for them to make that trade. Also ruined my Wednesday night. So also an asshole, whoever's in charge of that Twitter account and making those graphics.
So it does lead perfectly into my
and
take,
also PF
right?
Chang's.
Well, obviously. And they're bullshit special. I mean, whoever the fuck priced that needs to be fired immediately. So leading up to how you've set me up here, the first asshole I wanted to give out was to the refs in Houston, but cop out. You know, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point, but too easy. And then I wanted to hand it to Steph for taking that three before he needed to at the end of the Houston game. But again, I can't give it to, the Golden State legend. So ultimately, who do I give it to? Wes, I give it to me. All right. And here's why. There are a bunch of like fake Twitter accounts that have a lot of followers, and all they do is put out like salacious takes to get clicks. Things like LeBron is unhappy with the Lakers, and then they'll have a fake picture of his Instagram account where he's saying whatever it is, something directly attributed to LeBron. Well, this week, an account named NBA Central posted a fake picture of Steph Curry's Instagram account. And what it insinuated was that Steph Curry knew that Jimmy Butler was coming to Golden State. It had an Instagram account from Steph, and it showed Jimmy in a Golden State uniform. I saw it, retweeted it to everybody we had, and was like, what's the immediate reaction to the news? I guess Jimmy Butler is coming, which opened up a avalanche of takes of, Bram, you're an asshole. NBA Central is not a real account. So 1,000%, I deserve the award, but it's also a very easy serve up to Jimmy Butler to the Warriors. So give us a real take, Wes. You cover the team. What's the situation with Butler the way you understand it in Miami? Is he unhappy? Is it they're just exploring options? Like what's actually happening?
So it kind of felt like we were heading in this sort of direction as soon as Pat Riley, in his end of season press conference in the spring, said we're not even going to entertain signing Jimmy Butler to an extension. And everybody knew that Jimmy Butler wanted to decline his player option for next year and sign a multi-year maximum extension. And he felt like he deserved it, and for good reason. He captained the second greatest, depending on who you ask, third greatest era of Miami Heat basketball of all time. And it was a lot of him that was carrying that load. So once Pat Riley basically came out and challenged him and said, we're not going to do that unless you're more available, etc., it kind of felt like we were going in this direction because he's 35 years old and entering what could be the final year of his contract. Players don't typically get healthier and better as they get to this age. So it's like, okay, are you kind of just writing the reason on the wall already of why you're not going to pay this guy eventually? And if you're not going to pay this guy when he becomes a free agent, then you might need to trade him before he enters free agency, or you risk him walking away for nothing. So, you can read the tea leaves, read between the lines, whatever, just kind of do some math here, deductive reasoning, and just say, yeah, they could potentially trade Jimmy Butler. That said, in the summer, they were approached by other front offices. Hey, what's the deal with Jimmy Butler? And every front office that asked the Heat about Jimmy Butler's availability said, we're not even talking about that right now. Like, we're not signing him to an extension, but we're also not trading him. We're just sort of like kicking this can down the road. And teams, front offices around the league, around the 20-game mark, will do their self-evaluations. They'll also evaluate other teams around the league who might be available that wasn't otherwise available, 20 games ago at the start of the year. So I think 20 games into the season, the Heat were middling around 500. Other teams called and said, hey, have you changed your mind on Jimmy Butler? And from what I understand, instead of basically being hung up on right away with a curt no, they had a little bit more of a conversation. And I think other front offices walked away and said, okay, Jimmy Butler's not, like, you have a bunch of guys in the league who are just like automatic hang up the phone. Steph Curry, automatic hang up the phone. Nikola Jokic, Giannis, hang up the phone right away. Jimmy Butler used to be a right away hang up the phone guy. He is clearly now a notch below that somewhere. And he's not an automatic hang up the phone guy. And I think that's really the only thing that changed here. That doesn't mean the Heat are shopping him. Doesn't mean he's on the trade block. It doesn't mean anybody requested a trade or anybody's dyeing their hair for any particular reason. It just means that Jimmy Butler's 35 years old, and the Heat's front office has to be smart about where they're going.
Feels like there's different levels of availability, right? There's like, of course, we're willing to trade this guy. So there's one level of availability is like, blow me away. The first is, I don't give a shit what you offer. It's just like you said, the Steph Currys of the world. There's nothing you can offer me. It's not happening. Next level down is, all right, blow me away. I'm listening, but like, it's going to have to be something that I never thought you would offer. And then maybe I'll go that. And then the final one is stated high asking price. Like, okay, we will consider it, but we want whatever, 3 first-round picks. We want a young guy. Are we to the place where there is a stated asking price, or is it just you can call us and blow us away, but we're not in a hurry at all?
I think we're a step right before we get he's not available unless, of course, you blow us away. Like what I call that the Danny Ainge, right? Like Danny Ainge, it's like for Jordan Clarkson, he's like, he's not available unless you blow us away. It's like, no, dude, he's available. Like everybody is that for Danny Ainge. But I don't, to me, this Shams report was just something, it wasn't news necessarily as so much as it was like, I don't know. I don't want to discredit Shams because I think everything he said is true, but I think it's also something that we kind of knew here locally.
Sure.
So I don't know that anything necessarily changed, in other words.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I just think that somebody at ESPN finally said it.
The year Jimmy's having, it's not incredible. It's not what we would normally assume, but also Jimmy Butler's known to be a 16-game player, not an 82. And right now he's playing for a 500 team whose aspirations probably aren't a title.
500.
There you go. Okay. So, and it would make sense to me if his lack of output has more to do with the stakes of this team than it has to do with his ultimate skill set. But I'm not watching him, dude. I'm not there every day. How would you interpret this? Is he still an elite player who can make a difference for a championship team and is just kind of on a middling team now, so it isn't engaging him? Or are we starting to see, he's getting older and, maybe he's not as effective as he was a year ago or a couple years ago?
No, he's an elite player. I think he's still capable of being one of the best 25 players in the NBA. No question. My biggest concern with him is for how much longer. But right now, that's why he makes so much sense for the Warriors. And I'm sure that's kind of where you're leading us right now. But yeah, like that's what you need. Like right now, he's still an elite player.
Oh, no. I was going to give you a suggested trade for the Suns. I'm really, of course I've got a Warriors thing. So Maxime, Wes is going to tell me fuck no to this trade. There's no question. He's going to tell me fuck no. All right. Let me offer it to you first. You be Mike Dunleavy before we offer it to the Miami Heat. I'm not attaching a first rounder. I'm not. And it's because I genuinely believe in Wiggins. Wiggins is having a hell of a season. And I kind of think that Wiggins at his price is almost more valuable to the Warriors than Jimmy Butler would be at $48 million. All right. But you got to match salary. And so here's the players: Wiggins, Melton's contract, JK, and Guy Santos, just to make the numbers work, straight up for Jimmy Butler. No draft pick at all. Those are the guys we bring back Butler. Maxime, would you do that?
That already this is hard for me. I mean, I'm sure you want me to say yes, especially if you're expecting Wes to say no, so that we have something. I mean, look, the reason that it's hard for me is that you're making a bet on the 16-game player that is Jimmy Butler. We know right now, essentially, we have a second best player in Draymond Green that can do all of this stuff, except we don't have anybody else on the Warriors who's averaging more than 20 points a game besides Steph. So we just need more balls in buckets. That's the truth of the matter. And like Jimmy, I guess, might be able to get you that enough to get us to the playoffs, and then legitimately when he ratchets it up enough to actually potentially get us into the title contention. But frankly, at this point, with the way that Wiggins is playing, like Wiggins is back to his 22 season self, or 22 season self, more or less. So I'm just not ready to give up on that, because that person is also good enough to win us a championship, as we've already seen.
Well, and it's an end result analysis. If they make this trade, it's Western Conference Finals or bust. If you make this trade, you give up on JK, and you end up paying Butler that kind of money, because the idea is that, well, I don't know if they'd re-sign him, but my assumption is that Butler wouldn't want to come here unless there's some kind of a wink right. deal, like we're going to give you this money. You don't want to do that unless you know this team is now upper echelon. Like if this still puts us below the OKCs of the world and we're not really messing with Minnesota and stuff, then why? It's not worth doing it. And I'm not sure Butler gets us there, but the other side of that is, I think Kirk Goldberg just tweeted out one of those like efficiency meters where it shows like one line offensive efficiency, this line is defensive efficiency, and the Warriors' defensive efficiency is phenomenal. Their offensive efficiency is dog shit. You can see it. And Jimmy Butler wouldn't cost them anything defensively. It'd probably make them better and raise the offensive efficiency. So I can see the upside on it. For me, this would be a sleepless night. If I'm Mike Dunleavy, if they give this to me, I'm not saying yes immediately. I'm not saying no immediately. Next day I'd probably say yes, just to pacify Steph and keep us in the conversation, but I wouldn't be sure. Wes, what does Miami do with this? If you were in charge of this trade from the Heat's perspective, what do you say?
What's the sleepless night? You guys love Guy Santos that much? What's going on here?
That's it.
It's Wiggins. Wiggins is at 22 million or something, 26 versus 48 million for a player who might not be giving us that much more. And JK, he's just figuring his shit out, Wes. Finally, right now, he's starting to not force his game anymore and is flashing it a little bit.
So first of all, in terms of Kuminga, this is almost a get out of jail free card on the Kuminga thing. Clearly the Warriors have some apprehension about paying him his next contract. And if you trade him, then you don't have to deal with that anymore.
Yep.
He's a good player. He's a bad fit in Golden State. Always has been. Always will be until Steph retires and they just don't fit. So, okay, that to me is almost like if you're going to get a star player, you're going to have to trade Kuminga anyway. So it almost feels like it's a sunk cost. So really what we're talking about, it's Wiggins for Butler. And that to me is also a no-brainer. I had somebody text me is Butler that much better for Wiggins? After all this came out. And I was like, are we crazy right now? Wiggins is a good three-point shooter when he's playing well. When he's engaged, he's a good defender, a good offensive rebounder, all these things. But he is not a playmaker even a little bit. He doesn't create shots for others except for maybe a little bit of a drive and kick every once in a while. He's not a consistently efficient scorer. He doesn't really create shots for himself that are anything other than kind of dribble into a mid-range shot every once in a while. But he kind of needs somebody else to create those shots for him first and bend the defense to just make things easier for him. And then defensively, he's just not the difference maker that Jimmy is. I understand on paper, if you squint, it kind of looks like a similar player, but it's a very different player. And the main thing here that I always point to is the playmaking. Jimmy Butler could be the point guard for the Golden State Warriors. He would make life so much easier for Steph. He would make life easier for everybody. He would make life easier for Draymond because he would actually be able to just Jimmy could guard the best wing player, and Draymond would never really have to switch onto those guys. To me, this is a no-brainer. The basketball IQ would be through the roof. I would do that in a heartbeat if I were the Warriors.
I think the Warriors, so I'm going to ask you again for the Heat, and I'm hearing all of it. Let me just address what you just said for the Warriors. Take it out of a vacuum. All right. There's no question that Jimmy Butler is better than Wiggins. And if their contracts matched, I'd make that trade in a heartbeat. But out of this fucking vacuum, Butler is not the only possible guy. We're hearing people like Vucevic, who's only making $20 million And now you can make a trade without giving up on JK. You can give up just Wiggins, keep a little bit of this depth, and I think still add to the ultimate value on the team. And I'm going to push back a little bit on whether or not JK fits here. The way he's playing right now, he hasn't really figured it out. And I think that's why Kerr is still really reluctant to mix him in. But if he just became that power slasher, which we're starting to see this week, the spacing that Steph creates is exactly what a player like JK could take advantage of. And so the skill sets could match. They just haven't yet. But if you're from the Heat's perspective, do they have interest in this? Do you guys want Wiggins? Is JK a valuable piece?
Yeah, it feels like it's not enough because, like, is there a draft pick involved?
Right,
like,
that's
the
what
stuff
they
you
want,
start
right?
haggling over, right? Like,
Yeah.
you want to draft. I do think that it provides a little bit of salary relief. Like, you talk about the Wiggins contract, that's better. You'll get off of the Melton contract at the end of the year. That saves you $12-13 million right away. Guy Santos' contract is non-guaranteed, so you can waive him, and you probably would have to because the Heat would be over their cap limit or their roster limit. So then he goes, that's $2 million that you just saved immediately.
You're younger, right? You immediately
and
have
you got a guy like Kuminga. It would.
Yeah.
I don't know what Miami thinks of Jonathan Kuminga, right? They didn't scout him at all that draft. Like, that wasn't a thing. Like, that they weren't in that territory. So, what do they think about him? Do they and like like the concerns that Kuminga has playing with Draymond would be very similar to the concerns that Kuminga has with Bam Adebayo, right? It's a very similar thing. And so, can those two guys exist on the court? I don't know. If I'm the Heat, what I'm looking for is just a bunch of stuff that I can get in house right now that I'm going to probably use 6 months from now to trade for the next star. And in that regard, I think Kuminga does have some value. But then again, like, you still inherit those contract concerns, and any other team that you might be trading Jonathan Kuminga to would also be dealing with potentially those contract concerns. So to me, it feels like it's almost too much of a headache for Miami.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't rule it out because they also might love Jonathan Kuminga and they say, hey, this guy's a lottery ticket. We think we can get him here and he could be better than what he's been in Golden State. And maybe and age-wise, he fits right along Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. And if we're kind of building towards that, then I think we can make it work.
I'll spoil the next award. My winner for Jesus Shuttlesworth is going to be Jonathan Kuminga. He's had back-to-back 20-point games, and then more importantly than that, he seems to be slowing down a little bit. He's not settling for that fall-away jumper anymore. He's going to the hoop exactly when we want him, which is just a lead to this question. Not Miami's opinion, Wes, yours. How do you view Kuminga? Just in a vacuum, not within a specific team, not for Golden State, not for Miami, just as a player and an asset going forward. Do you see upside? Do you see downside? What's the take?
I think he's got a lot of upside. To me, I think like his ceiling is like a Pascal Siakam type.
Huh.
A guy who is an incredible athlete and physical specimen. I think he's more athletic than Siakam, but I think like probably not the guy who you want in charge of your offense. But a guy who's maybe the number two on your offense eventually. Physically, he does things that very few players in the league can do, right? And that's just such a rare thing. And it's a thing that the Warriors drafted him for, right? They're like, there's no other way. We're never going to find this guy. Like, the only way to find this guy is in the top 10 of the draft. Let's go ahead and grab him. So, yeah, that stuff is all super impressive. The attitude part of it, like, not to say he's got a bad attitude, but like the whole, like, him trying to prove himself part of it on a team that's not really allowing him to prove himself. Yep. I don't know that to me would, and again, I know you said not fit for a specific team, but like if I were just a team potentially trading for Kuminga, that would be like, okay, are we the right team to take in him? Do we have the wide pastures to kind of let this guy roam and kind of explore the edges of his game? That would be another sort of thing that you would have to evaluate.
He's like one of those dudes who came to the league in the wrong era. Like you rewind it, you come back when like Corey Maggette was a player, he'd be perfect for it. When 3-point shooting wasn't the premium, wasn't like the thing that we all considered, and your ability to get penetration and get to the rim, he would be really valued. But now when everybody's shooting 100 3-pointers, and that seems to be the first thing that you ask, JK still hasn't found that. A friend of the show, whose name I'll keep off record because they didn't want to make it a public take. So we're at that Houston game, and one of the things he noticed and texted me about was that they left him wide open anywhere he went. They allowed Jay in the corner, up top. It didn't matter. They sagged off him and used that to clog the lane. And it's not, as someone who's watched every single game of Jonathan Kuminga's career, I can tell you that's not a poor decision. He still hasn't found that 3-pointer. Right. And it's, if he figures it out, dude, incredibly valuable. But I don't know. We're 4 years in, and it doesn't feel like we're that much closer to him having a reliable three-pointer.
Yeah, and I don't know that he's going to. And it would have been so interesting to see if he got drafted by a team. Like, I think about Giannis early days in Milwaukee. I mean, he was playing point guard for them, and he wasn't good at it. But they were just like, hey, this is a stress test. We got to get this guy on the ball, creating for others, because if he's off the ball, teams are going to do that. And so, like, that was a way for him to sort of expand, his game and just grow under that stress test. And Kuminga was never really afforded that. He was kind of asked to do that off to the side while the Warriors were Warriorsing over here.
Yep.
And it's just so hard for a young player to do that. Like, imagine if he were, like, I don't know, like in the Ben Simmons role or something, or again, early Giannis role, like what he could have done. To me, like, the three-point shot was never really a thing for him.
Yep.
But I do think, like, the pressure he puts on the rim, I think he could have developed as a passer. I think he has on a lot in that way, but he's also sort of not where I think a lot of people expected him to be at this stage of his career, which I think is a fair assessment. But he also hasn't really had that chance to grow.
That's exactly right. He didn't get that thing, the Jalen Green thing, where it's like, look, we're not going to win, but we believe in you. Let's see, let's see what you do. And then off we go. And I'll turn this into a compliment to Jonathan Kuminga. I do like his fuck you response. That big game he got against Houston, I'm pretty sure is the first time he's played against Jalen Green since Jalen Green's been a yacht owner, since he got the $100 million contract, and I think that meant something to Kuminga. I think he knew, that his draft class got paid and he wanted to come out there and make a difference. And he did, he didn't come short when it meant something to him. So, we got to point out that when he is successful, he makes a difference. It's not always predictable,
Right.
Where are you standing on JK right now, Maxime? Are you up, down? I mean, what's the current stock in your mind?
Well, so the first thought I had when we were talking about all of this is actually like, is some team going to be light years ahead and realize that we're moving towards a rule change where the 3-point is somehow lessened in value and then actually Kuminga's value goes up? That was just a random throwaway thought, but it is kind of interesting to think about, like, well, what would a universe look like where the 3-ball isn't as valued as it is right now when Kuminga is still in his prime? I've been down on Kuminga for a while. I don't think he's a great fit on this team. It's sort of like, you guys, we've talked about the Bear, right? So I feel like Kuminga is like Salt Bay or whatever, right? Like, he makes an incredible steak, right? Like, unbelievable steak, and then the rest of the Warriors are over here. There's like Steph is like Carmi and shit, and it's like, they're like, hey, we're putting together this 5-course meal and like, this guy's responsible for the dessert and this guy's responsible for this thing. And Kuminga's like, cool. I got the steak. They're like, no, actually, we're not doing steak tonight. He's like, yeah, but like, dude, it's going to be medium rare. It's going to be fucking awesome. I'm going to stew the shit out of this thing. Right. It's like, okay, but actually, like, we have a whole team chemistry thing going on over here. And I just feel like somebody out there is a steakhouse that just needs a guy that can, like, crush a steak. And I don't think Kuminga is that on this squad, That's kind of where I've been out for a while.
What kind of incredible reveal it would be if Steph had the type of emotional problems that fucking Carmi had on that show. Also, we should start having really, really tight camera angles and have like a emotionally like charged conversation, and we can make it exactly like that show. Talk about having the tail wag the dog, putting this back to Jimmy Butler. Wes, if the Warriors were featuring a team headlined by Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler, title contention? Like what how would you view that team? What's their upside?
Yeah, I think they can make it to the Western Conference Finals, and then once they're there, who knows, right?
Yeah, right.
I would have the Thunder above them still, just because of depth, right?
Yep.
But if you can get like a 2-year window of Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, you can kind of reload this offseason and make another. Yeah, I do selfishly. I'm a little conflicted over this because Jimmy Butler here is a lot of fun. He's fun to cover. He's still a great basketball. By the way, 23rd in dunks and threes EPM rating in the regular season. So even when we're talking about him not being like that guy in the regular season, he's still one of the top 25 most efficient players, most impactful players in the league. But also that would be kind of sick to see him in Golden State with Steph and Draymond like at the same time. And honestly, I think the window's closed for Jimmy Butler in Miami. I don't like there's no way for them to compete with Boston, Cleveland, Orlando, or the Knicks, like in the Eastern Conference. But he's always needed a number one scorer. He's not a number one scorer. Never has been outside of some playoff series. He has 8 40-point games in his career in Miami. None of them are in the regular season. They're all in the postseason. He's never scored 40. Jimmy Butler, a future Hall of Famer, probably has never, ever scored 40 points in a regular season game in 6 years.
I'm very surprised by that. Yeah.
That's bananas, okay, in today's NBA. Like, Victor Oladipo has a 40-point game in Miami.
Yeah.
More than Jimmy Butler does. So, yeah, anyway, point being is I think it would be a great fit. I do think it wouldn't like open the door. It wouldn't open that window wide in Golden State, but it would open it a crack. And right now, I think like that window is very much closed. My other point with the Warriors too is this: who's better right now, or in the next couple of years? Like, it kind of feels like you got to strike while your iron's hot, and they owe it to Steph. They absolutely owe it to Steph. And honestly, like, Wiggins' contract, I understand. This is why you let Klay Thompson walk. This is why you saved all that money, is so you can make a run like this. The hell with the money. The hell with Jonathan Kuminga. Like, honestly, like, your future, who cares? This is Steph Curry. You got to go for it.
They're going to make it. I am willing to bet something significant. They make a trade. I don't know if it's for Butler, but I do think they're going to make a trade. And, again, betting on things. I don't know if I bet for sure they get, I mean, not put it that way. I'm not sure if it makes them a Western Conference finalist, but what I am positive of is it would increase how much the other team's asshole would pucker up. Like right now, if OKC had to play Steph Curry and the Warriors, it wouldn't be a 1 out of 5. They'd be a little worried. You got to worry about Draymond. You got to worry about Steph and all the experience. I mean, the Warriors are the Warriors. But you add Butler to that, you're up to like a 4 at least. Like they're going to be very worried. No one's going to want to play that team, which means something. I mean, there's no question. It makes them better. Absolutely. Maxime, your asshole of the week. Does it fit into the same category?
It does. I mean, and actually, since I heard Wes talking about it a little bit more, I feel like I may be talking out of turn here, but like I'm going to give it to Bernard Lee, who is Jimmy Butler's agent. Yeah. I mean, so Shams has the tweet that basically directly quotes Bernie Lee saying that Jimmy is open to trade destinations. And I feel like, Wes, to your point, this is the kind of thing, like, Shams is careful enough to get to the point that he is now that he feels pretty confident that his sources were reliable. But the vitriol with which Bernie Lee came back at him, I mean, what did he say? The quote was, "All right, listen, I gave you a pass yesterday because I was busy, but if you don't stop putting my name on your complete and utter made up bullshit because you normally aren't worth my time to acknowledge, for example." That is a lot of words to throw at a guy when like, frankly, like, I think the rest of the NBA is like, I mean, come on, like, we know the writing is on the wall already. Like, your sources are probably reliable. You kind of just look like an asshole, Bernie Lee. I think this is the definition of the award.
Yeah, there's no question. There is no question that you're right. Look, here in Miami, everybody's like, like doing victory laps, like, Bernie Lee just like told off Shams. He just disproved him. And I was like, I don't think anything that Bernie Lee said was false, and I don't think that anything Shams reported was false, right? Like, Shams didn't like. You said he like directly quoted Bernie Lee. He did not directly quote Bernie Lee. He said that Bernie Lee is telling people in league circles that these are the teams that Jimmy Butler would be open to playing for. So Shams is not getting his information from Bernie Lee. Shams is getting his information from people who spoke with Bernie Lee and then other front offices who may or may not have spoken with the Miami Heat and getting their impressions. So it is a little bit of a game of telephone, but like you said, Shams, like, you're doing it enough where you're like, yeah, this guy's obvious. Like, they're opening, like, enough people said that the Heat are listening to offers that he felt comfortable going ahead and reporting it. Like, again, like I said, it was not shocking locally to have seen that. So it was sort of like an asshole move by Bernie Lee, who's incredibly entertaining in person and online. But yeah.
Last Jimmy Butler question. Orange hair means nothing. I've seen it. Everyone's like, Phoenix, or, it means something. It's a coded message to the league without saying anything.
It's great, man.
Yeah. I mean, so does it mean what? Actually, 2 questions. Does it mean anything? And is Jimmy Butler, even if it means nothing, is Jimmy Butler trolling people by doing it? Because we've, the whole media day shit, when he's coming out as emoji, like he will use his appearance to make a point, even if it's not like a pointed one, but like he knows what he's doing. He's media savvy. So how'd you read that?
It means something. It just means that Jimmy Butler's on Twitter. That's what it means. Like, it just, I love it, man. Like, he said, what did he say? There ain't no subliminals in my hair. I just had the orange one around, so I did it. And I was like, first of all, nobody just has orange hair dye around. I don't care how rich you are. Like that doesn't like it's not like a box of crayons and you're like, oh cool, I still have macaroni yellow, sick. Like you're just like that's not a thing. So you actually had somebody go out and get orange because you know damn well that the Phoenix Suns' primary color is orange, and that the emo Jimmy Twitter account said, hey, blue for for Dallas, yellow for the world, like that whole thing. So he's online, he saw it, he decided to make some fun of it. Even before he goes out to the game, we all see the orange hair. He posts like in a super 4K HD photo of it on his Instagram account, and you're just like, all right, like that's hilarious. He's a troll. Congratulations. I also say this. I think it's a masterclass, and I think every player who's ever involved in a trade rumor going forward should watch two things. That press conference of Jimmy Butler in the orange hair, and the one 2 days before, or a day before that after Wednesday's practice, when he said, when he was asked about being in trade rumors, talking about how much he loves being in trade rumors and any attention is good attention and all of this stuff. He never shot down the reports, ever. He never said I wasn't open to playing, never shot it down. And I don't think he wanted to. But he also deflated it at the same time.
Sure. Yeah.
And kind of distracted everybody with orange hair, like, woo, look over here, like orange hair, isn't this fun? Like, don't look at the reports. A masterclass of being involved in these trade rumors.
How great would it be if I took off my hat and revealed orange hair? It's just like, oh, it just happens to be orange right now. If you were a player in the NBA, Wes, would you do shit like that? Would you troll people? Show up to media day and like
dude,
random
I don't,
ass
like
outfits,
honestly, I get such tunnel vision on the stuff I'm working on. I don't think I would have. I don't think I'm smart enough to figure that out. Like to be awesome at what I'm doing, but then also like figure out how to be like online and trolling and just like subverting the whole like online thing. Like that's crazy shit, dude. Like it's nuts. I would just be so locked in to just be like, gotta wake up, gotta go to shoot around, gotta come back, take a nap, get my protein shake, go to the game. Like I wouldn't have time for that. I'm not good at that. I'm bad at multitasking.
Yeah, dude, it would
go burn PF Chang's to the ground and then figure it out.
It'd make me hella nervous. It'd be another thing that I would have like some other expectation I'd have to fill. You're like, maybe I hit it the first time and they found it funny. And then like, what if I didn't have any other ideas? And now I'm disappointing people on media day. Like I'm just playing under the radar.
This is my Steve Kerr theory always is people can criticize Steve Kerr for almost being too forthright with the media and just being too like open and honest. And as a media person, I love it. But sometimes, yeah, he puts his foot in his mouth. Like what was that quote? Like we're not chasing wins like a few years ago and stuff like. But I just think he's like, look, this doesn't deserve my time to figure out how to skirt and coach speak around all this stuff. So I'm just going to tell you what I'm thinking. I'm going to move on to more important matters. And I always respected it.
You and I both. To our next award, the Jesus Shuttlesworth. You guys already know how I'm going here. JK, I've said enough. Who's your guys' winners?
So this is the player of the week. I got to go Tyler Hero.
I'm not going to ask you any follow-ups.
I'm going to keep it home. No, it's fine. No, he's averaging 26, 5, and 5 on 54% shooting, 47% from three-point range. He is the best three-point shooter in the NBA right now.
How old is he?
Crazy. He is 24 years old.
I mean, future franchise guy. When you look at Miami, this is Tyler Hero's team or Bam Adebayo's team?
It's Bam. It's Bam's team right now. I think there was a period of time where it could have been Tyler's team. Like you're talking about like Jonathan Kuminga. Imagine him 20 years ago. Like Tyler Hero kind of similarly. Like he would have like dropped out of a spaceship. It would have been crazy. But like defense wasn't as important back then. I feel like now you've got to be like a two-way, longish. You got to be like a Shea, like a Tatum. Like you've got to have like size, be able to play defensively to kind of be that guy in today's NBA. So I'll stop short of being like number one guy on a championship kind of team. I don't think Tyler could be that, but I think he could be a really important player on a championship type winning team.
He seems to be cruising under the radar a little bit. He got a ton of attention early on in that playoff run, and he was so good. And then I think we all expected him to make the leap immediately, and it took a little bit longer because it feels like he's making the leap now, but it also feels like people aren't paying attention to it. That like that the gaze kind of went somewhere else, and so it's going unnoticed, which is what it is. Maxime, your player of the week.
Well, so I agree it's going unnoticed, but I feel like in the Heat circles, there was something going around of Tyler Hero as like a kid singing along to. Did you see this? I can't remember who he was singing to, but it was very sweet, and I was like, oh, okay,
it's the actual kid. Yeah.
As a kid, yeah. That's nice. Anyways, I feel like Jonathan Kuminga is the right answer. So just to kind of zag, because I want to hear more from you, Bram, on that. I'm going to go real outside the box here and give it to Michael Jordan. And the reason I'm giving it to Michael Jordan is because I was, as you guys know, recently in Singapore. And I also took a little quick trip over to Bali, because why not? And while I was there, driving down the road, I see a bunch of NBA jerseys for sale, right? Just like racked up in a row. And you can see this just, you got all the different colors. It's clear they got the Warriors jerseys in there, the Lakers jerseys in there. And to be clear, many people in Southeast Asia rock Warriors, rock NBA jerseys. I saw many Steph jerseys. I saw, shout out to Trae Young, quite a few Trae Young jerseys.
Nice Trae.
So, okay, there it is.
What was the most surprising one? Did any like throwbacks? Maybe like in a Vince Carter or something like that.
Ooh, yeah, actually, yes, there was the Vince Carter with the dinosaur Toronto Raptor. Yeah,
Fuck out
classic.
here. You just guessed that randomly? You just happened to know?
He was dead. I was going to say none of them.
You know what's so funny is I actually saw the same Vince Carter Raptors jersey with the old the dinosaur yesterday at the Heat game, and I was like, damn, that's a sick. I mean, they were also playing Toronto, so it makes more sense. But I was like, that's a sick jersey. So that was like the first one that came out. That was a coincidence.
Definitely makes more sense than Singapore. Like if it's a Toronto game versus just a random dude in Singapore. 100% yes.
The ball fan goes deep. And the point of all of this is to say that you see them all lined up in a rack. So you just see the colors, and there is one on top, and it's a 23 Bulls jersey. The point is that after all these years, Michael Jordan is no longer in the NBA. He's off fucking around on NASCAR or whatever. This is still the jersey that people put up in Bali to say, we have basketball jerseys for sale. And I saw more than any other player, more than Steph, I saw a LeBron jersey. Just Bulls 23. This is not a surprise, but I bring it up mainly because I feel like this is a huge point in the GOAT debate right here. It's like,
for
come
people who have
on.
been listening for a long time, Wes, who we've had an amazing relationship with forever. I mean, forever. One of the things we started the show on is a fight about who the best player is of all time. And obviously, Wes was talking about LeBron. We were talking about Jordan. And so this might be a little subversive if it wasn't meant that way, Maxine, because if it is, I love you. And
That was masterfully done. I love like the long build up, like very, very Norm Macdonald style. Like, where is this going exactly? Oh, it's just to fuck me? Okay, cool. Awesome.
The Jesus Shuttlesworth goes to fuck Wes. And I think we can all agree on that. It was an unexpected thing, but we got there. All right, boys. I'm going to skip over the Golden Dagger because we've taken a little bit long with the Jimmy Butler, which takes us to the Where's Waldo. Wes, this is wide open. Anything you've noticed over the last week, give it to us. What do you got?
Black Friday is no longer a day. It's 2 months out of the year.
Whoa.
Have we noticed this?
True. Oh no, it's 100% true.
Everything's on sale all the time, including stale rice at PF Chang's. It's absolutely nuts. Everything's on sale. Nothing was never not on sale. We had like the month up to Black Friday. It's the month after we go. We're extending now it's Cyber Monday week. Yeah. It's like, no, Monday's a day of the week. I thought we all agreed on that like when Jesus was walking around. Like, what's going on? And it goes, and then it's like, okay, now it's Christmas, and it's like honk for Toyota-thon or whatever it is. Like, it's just, everything's on sale for 2 months out of the year. So my point is, don't get suckered into Black Friday. Don't get suckered into Cyber. Everything's on sale in November and December. You'll get what you want for cheap.
You are both unpredictable and entertaining. One of the reasons I love having you on the show. If you'd given me 10,000 guesses on what you were going to reference in the Where's Waldo, Jesus and Black Friday never would have been like, at no point would I have guessed either of those. So nicely played.
You texted me something you noticed this week. I didn't know it was Andrea.
It's gold.
Something I noticed. I was
it's
like, wow,
a gold take, and I'll take it a step further because they pretend like it's still limited. They'll be like early Black Friday, Black Friday, and then they'll tell you Black Friday, and they'll be like, nope. Black Friday just happens to still be going, but it's not. There is no difference. It's been the same.
So many emails. It's like last chance, 50% off, and then like the next day it'll be like last chance, 55% off, and you're like, oh my god, it's going down. This is crazy. And it's like going up to like it's like you're like a 3 in your high school, and you go up to a 10, and you're like last chance, and you're like, dude, it's first semester.
I don't mind telling you, as long as you don't admit this to anybody else, that I am the exact person that's aimed at, and it works every time. I buy a bunch of shit I don't need. I bought like a giant battery for no reason. Bought a giant battery for no reason because it was on sale, and then I've checked.
Battery, like a car battery?
No, yeah, like a car battery. No, like I don't even know what you call them. Like the things that are separate that I can plug a cell phone into and put it into my backpack.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
like one of those things. But like this one was hella big, so if we lose power for I don't know, like a week, I can use this thing to continue to fucking charge my battery. I bought it because it was on sale, thinking that it was on sale for like I don't know, 90 minutes. I've checked it every day since then so I could pat myself on the back like, oh, you've saved so much money. It's gone down since. I've actually spent more money than I needed to. I do that shit every year.
Wow. So this is how I know. So I bought this mic. This is a new mic. So I had it like in my Amazon thing. And I was like, oh, it's on sale for like 42%. You know, it's always like a weird percentage on Amazon. It's like 41.5% off. And you're like, oh, this is cool. Maybe I'll wait for 42% off. And then it's like, and so I'm like waiting. It's like, I was like, okay, it's not going down. I'm going to wait for Black Friday because I bet it'll just go down like another $50 and all. I'm like, I'm saving. Instead, I just wasted a month of podcasting without it. It was literally the same exact fucking price on that Friday than it was like a month before. I was like, there's nothing new here. And it's the same. You go on Amazon right now, it's the same price and it'll get delivered to you tomorrow. It's ridiculous.
I don't know if that mic has its own power supply, but if you need a battery, I've got a real good deal I can share with you. I mean, there's no problem at all. I got your back. My Where's Waldo is I noticed that hot dogs are exactly like sandwiches. I don't know if you guys have ever considered that, but they couldn't be more similar.
No, I thought we agreed on tacos.
No, we 100% did not. I'll give you a basketball one. Broken record, 1,000% broken record take. It is too many times into this. I've talked about it for, I don't know, half a decade. But Steph Curry is the only NBA superstar, global icon, gold medalist, author of a dynasty, all the things you can put into a sentence, who doesn't get NBA superstar calls. I have learned throughout my fucking NBA fandom over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, if you achieve any of those bullet points, they give you free throws. That's what happens. Steph does not. That was true in that Houston game. He got snake bit at the end by fucking Aaron Holiday. Aaron Holiday is not only not an NBA superstar, he's not even the best Holiday. He's not even the best of the fucking Holiday family. And they still didn't call it. Apparently they thought that Steph Curry, the greatest NBA fucking shooter of all time, airballed the 15-footer and just allowed it to go to the other side. So I don't understand it. It continues to happen and it drives me crazy. That's my Where's Waldo.
Steph Curry is getting the same amount of free throw attempts per game as, a tenth of a free throw attempt more than Isaiah Wong.
See, I wish I was surprised. I was surprised, but also I have no idea who Isaiah Wong is. I've never heard of that player. I did not know
I got
that
lucky with a funny name there. That was like right there, right behind him. I was like, oh wow, that's a funny name.
I was super worried. So you can tell
Me too.
Wes's face lit up, which meant he was looking at a different screen. You know, so he was doing a little bit underneath range. And as I said it, he randomly took a shot on what looked to be a Nerf basketball hoop. And so I thought maybe he was going to shithouse me here and have something, like, oh, I don't agree with this at all.
I made the shot, by the way.
I don't believe you. We'll never know because we couldn't see it. But I was worried when you gave a name, and then you backed me up fantastically. So I appreciate it, and it does. I'm sure I'll bring this back up, but it just drives me crazy. I can tell you what Maxime's is. Maxime's Where's Waldo is he noticed that Singapore doesn't give a fuck about LeBron James. He is a Michael Jordan guy, so it is what it is.
Leave it up to Singapore to determine like all of our NBA takes. Good. This is good. Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's where we go. That's why we sent him there. We did have a little money in the budget, and we're like, off he went. It all came together.
It's like, let's just let them break the tie. They have $5 Chinese food. That's good.
$12.99.
Delicious Chinese food.
I bet.
Your Where's Waldo, Maxime?
My Where's Waldo is a shout out to Wes. Wes just released his Friday Donuts. And I was surprised to notice, maybe this has come up before, I don't know, but I feel like the very popular take that Hawaiian pizza, pineapple on pizza sucks, was not in Wes's top 5 worst pizza toppings. And so I was just in Singapore. I don't know if you guys knew this, but one of my colleagues is Italian, lives in Italy now, but he came over to work with us in Singapore too. And they got a bunch of Domino's pizzas, which are, by the way pizzas than Domino's pizzas in the US. Just like every fast food. If you go to like McDonald's in India, it's substantially better than McDonald's here. This is just, we have the worst version of all of our fast food. It's really disappointing. Regardless, one of the ones that we got was the Hawaiian, and I like Hawaiian pizza, frankly. I'll admit it. And I just had to listen to it. Ruined my pizza. I had to listen to this Italian man just like rail on pineapple on pizza, and to the point that he was so disgusted that I was disgusted by proxy. In any case, I noticed that pineapple was not on your top 5. I was surprised by that. But way to zag, Wes. Way to zag.
It was a little bit of a zag. It was also like low-hanging fruit, the pineapple on pizza thing. It's like, why waste time on that? Like, I don't have an original thought. Like, there's nothing original about like, I don't like it. And then obviously the Italian kind of like, what's the matter with you kind of part of it. Like, it's just like, I don't need this. Like, I can't, there's no reason for me to do that.
I was going to ask you to do an Italian accent, so you saved me that question. I really appreciate it.
Did you have
It's
that
going
on
to be
your
our
bingo
next section.
card either?
Yeah, I can throw it. No, I did. It's going to be our next award, and you nailed it 100%. My only random follow-up on this has to do with fast food being more gourmet in foreign countries. Did you guys know that 7-Eleven is a Japanese company, and actually is kind of nice? Like you go in there and it's like closer to a Whole Foods than it is to a convenience store. And we went out there and I was shocked by that. So there you go. There's my follow-up.
Disappointing. Yeah, we were in Paris a couple years ago, and I went into the McDonald's, and they have a whole goddamn dessert counter in there, like gourmet, like what are those little cookies with the soft out, like those delicious little cookies
Eclairs?
that they make? What?
Eclairs?
No, they're not eclairs. Like they're kind of crunchy. I'm gonna kick myself when I remember the name of this. But yeah, they're just like everywhere, like coffee, like the whole thing. Everybody's nice. Like, oh, sir, here's your blah blah blah, like a French accent. Boom. Globetrotting right now.
Wow, this is an international flavor. It's an international flavor podcast. We are all over the place. I will only say about Hawaiian pizza or anything else. Personal taste, I think it's terrible. But if you are ordering pizza for a large group of people, having people over, something like that, don't fuck around with like a weird topping, please. We went to go watch a game at a friend's house. They ordered food, was nice. They paid for the food, again, nice. And they didn't check in with anybody. It's like, we got pizza coming. If you're doing that, if you're ordering for a large group of people, just go baseline. Do pepperoni, man. You want to be crazy, add like, I don't know, sausage, but don't be adding shit like pineapple or something that you normally wouldn't get, ham, something weird,
the same people who, and I apologize if I offend anybody on this podcast.
Too late for that. Did you not hear your accents, dude? Like, we have people hating us right now.
On this podcast, not the listeners, screw them. Like, the same people who will order like a weird topping on their pizza are the same people who like make you take your shoes off when you walk
100%.
into their house. It's
100%.
They're making a point. They're always just making like, our carpets are clean and we eat pineapple on our pizza. And you're going to know that about us because this is more about us than this is about you being over at our house and us inviting you. It's ridiculous. So yeah, it should be like the bottom third there for people. It should be, to your point, Bram, it's such a good call. Like, don't make a point with your pizza. We don't got to get political about it. Just order the pepperoni, order the cheese. Everybody likes it. Avoid vegetables because people are kind of weird about like mushrooms and peppers and stuff like that. Like, just avoid it. Don't do it. It might be delicious. That's for you on your own time. Everybody likes pepperoni and pizza and cheese.
1,000,000%. And Wes, they always hedge it with like, oh, and we always love this from this place. This is the pie we always get. Like, I don't give a fuck about that. I'm not there when you always get it.
I'm never going there.
Yes, dude. Like, you didn't order this for you. You ordered it for us. I don't care what you always like. Great. You probably have a different favorite color than I do too. Pick something that we can all enjoy. Like, the fuck out of here.
Don't make me wear like pink because you love pink. I'm going to wear blue. Everybody loves blue.
Okay, we're going to end this on the same team, which I think we always find a way to do. I appreciate you, Wes. Look forward to these. There's always a reason I do. And for people out there who absolutely need way more Wes Goldberg in their life, where do they go?
Check out Friday Donuts. That's my Substack every Friday, mostly. I'll put out a link to all of my stuff from the week because my stuff's just everywhere right now. I'm all over the internet. So the easiest place, if you really want to follow my work, go check out wesgoldberg.substack.com. Subscribe. It's totally free. I don't charge for it. There's no premium access tier. It's just every Friday afternoon-ish, I'll just hit you with a quick email. There's little donut bullet points. They're literally shaped like donuts. It's really cool. And links to whatever I'm doing. And if you're interested in it, you just click on it. And if not, you keep it moving. And then sometimes I drop in a top 5 worst pizza toppings little column.
Wes is an incredible Venn diagram of content. On one side, he knows the fuck out of NBA basketball. On the other side, he's willing to be entertaining about almost any random related subject. And that Friday Donuts is the perfect example of that overlap. You will both learn a lot about the NBA and then be entertained by some shit you didn't even know you could be entertained by. So
can you write that down and that could just be like the forward to the whole Substack?
I got you. No problem for us. You can find us on social media. We are on Blue Sky, but I have not done shit yet. No more jump shots. God damn it, Wes. I don't think you're going to make that one either. We're also on Twitter. We're on YouTube, where Maxime continues to do incredible work. And we'll also be in Singapore buying an NBA jersey probably in the next couple of weeks. Definitely Jordan over LeBron. With that in mind, go Warriors. Hopefully we'll see you next week.